Ever wondered why some people insist that 100 Years of Solitude isn't fantasy, despite being filled with magical elements? Or why the House of the Spirits gets shelved differently from the Name of the Wind? Today I'm going to explore the fascinating distinction between magical realism and fantasy, and trust me, it's more interesting than you might think. Hi everyone, I'm Rasu, and this is Rasu Tales. On this channel I make videos about books, writing, and do deep dives into horror and fantasy. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you appreciate the video, consider hitting the like and subscribe button to join our community of book lovers. Now, let's get started. Imagine you're reading a story where a woman floats away during a church service. In a fantasy novel, this would be a major event. People would gasp, maybe call for a wizard or try to understand the magic at work. But in Gabriel Márquez's 100 Years of Solitude, it's mentioned almost casually, as if it's just another Tuesday. That's our first clue about the difference between these genres. Fantasy creates entire magical worlds with their own rules. Think of Brandon Sanderson's Mistborn, where specific metals give people specific powers. Or Harry Potter, with its carefully structured spell system and magical society running parallel to our own. Fantasy acknowledges that magic is extraordinary and builds whole worlds around it. Magical realism, on the other hand, takes our ordinary world and weaves magic through it like a subtle thread in a familiar fabric. In Isabel Allende's The House of the Spirits, a character can see the future and move objects with her mind, but she's more concerned about her family's dynamics than her supernatural abilities. The magic isn't the story, it's just part of how these characters experience reality. Here's another way to think about it. Fantasy says, let me take you to a world where magic exists. Magical realism says, magic has always been here, you just weren't paying attention. Let's look at some specific examples. In Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings, magic is a force that shapes the entire world. Gandalf's powers are studied, understood, and have clear limits. The magic system is part of the world building. But in Salman Rushdie's Midnight Children, children born at the exact moment of India's independence have magical powers. These powers aren't explained with rules or systems. They are metaphors for India's cultural identity and historical transformation. This brings us to another crucial difference: cultural context. Magical realism emerged from Latin American literature, though it's now written worldwide. It often appears in works dealing with colonialism, cultural identity, and political upheaval. The magic serves as a way to tell truths that might be too difficult or dangerous to tell directly. Let's compare some passages to see this difference in action, from Patrick Rothfuss's The Name of the Wind.
The air grew sharp and cold, making me gasp. I felt the wind rushing past. It pulled at my clothes and cooled the sweat on my body. Though my breath was knocked from me, I managed to speak the words to bind the air in my lungs.
Notice how the magic is systematic, explained, and treated as an extraordinary force. Now, from Laura Esquivel's Like Water for Chocolate.
Tita was so sensitive to onions. Anytime they were being chopped, they say she would just cry and cry. When she was still in her mother's belly, her sobs were so loud that even Nacha, the cook, who was half deaf, could hear them easily.
See how the magical element is treated as matter of fact? There's no explanation needed, it's simply how things are. So, to sum up the key differences, fantasy creates new worlds where magic is extraordinary. Magical realism shows our world where magic is ordinary. Fantasy explains its magic with systems and rules. Magical realism lets magic simply exist without explanation. Fantasy treats magic as something special and different. Magical realism treats it as natural and everyday. Neither approach is better than the other. They're just different tools for telling different kinds of stories. Fantasy lets us escape to new worlds, while magical realism helps us see the magic in our own. What do you think? Have you read any magical realism that you initially thought was fantasy? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and remember to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. See you in the next chapter.